thought we would talk about shaker cards. And I'm going to be using the new Shakers and Frames Confetti Cuts from reverseconfetti.com, which is already released. This is a fantastic die set. Now, if you're brand new to shaker cards, you're going to love how easy this is. If you already love and make shaker cards like I do, you're also going to love how great this die set is. It has 3 sizes of squares that you can put in any configuration to make your frame. And of course, you don't have to use it just for shaker cards. I love to use these just for layering or cutting out an image. And then inside we have all these little embellishment pieces that you can use to put inside your frame, which is so cool. It allows you to coordinate everything perfectly. So if you've never made a shaker card before, it's really, really simple. I've used the largest square for this, and you want to cut that twice to begin with. This is the backing piece of my shaker. This is the acetate window. I also sometimes use light vellum for a sort of a more softed, muted look. That's really cool as well. So you want to cut your largest piece twice. Then I've cut my frame, and here I've offset the square to sort of make slightly more of a Polaroid shape. So when I ran that through my die cut machine, I had my pieces like this. So those are really the 3 main pieces that you need to create a shaker card. I'm going to show you how I put mine together. The first thing I now do when I'm creating a shaker card is adhere the window to the frame, the top piece, because twice I have got all the way through making my shaker only to go to put the sequins in and realize I forgot to put the window on, which is a bit of a pain because then you have to take all your foam tape off and everything else. It's a really silly mistake. You probably would never make it. I do it all the time. Now, my adhesive foot, so I'm working on the back of my frame here. I like red line tape for this. It's super strong. And I always put the adhesive a little bit closer to the window because you don't really want to leave any gaps for little bits and pieces to be able to sneak through. So it's just best to be a little bit safe. Okay, so there's my super sticky frame, and I'm just going to carefully lay my acetate over top. Now, if I haven't lined that up properly, and I haven't, that's okay. I'm just going to go back in and trim it. Sometimes it's a bit, especially when you're working with red line tape, it's a little bit tricky to get it all lined up perfectly before it's stuck down. Okay, so that is the top part of my frame. And it has the window in it, which is really good. We want that. So now what I'm going to do is layer on some foam tape. And this is what's going to give you a little bit of dimension so that you can fill your shaker with whatever you want. So now you want to make sure that your foam tape isn't sort of overlapping the window. You want to put it just behind that wee window. I'm just going to, it's not really important how much thickness of tape you have there, just that you've got it all around the window and that you don't leave any gaps big enough for whatever you're putting inside to escape through. So if I were using maybe tiny little seed beads, I wouldn't even leave a gap that big. I would completely overlap that. I know that the pieces I'm putting in there are a little larger, so it's not as important to make sure there's no gaps whatsoever. But yeah, if you were putting something tiny in there, you would definitely want to be a little bit more careful. So now that's the top piece, and that's really all there is to it. What we're going to do is fill it up and then put that backing piece on there, and you have your shaker element ready to go. Now, I cut all my little pieces here using that fab little die, and you can take this apart from the square. I just haven't needed that little square yet, so it's all still stuck together. Now, I'm going to be a little bit more painstaking with this. If I was using sequins, I would just tip those in and put my backing on. Because I've cut these out of the same ombre paper that I'm going to use on the rest of my card, I want to make sure that all the pink is showing when I flip this over. So I'm going to tip those in one by one, and I will speed that up so that you don't have to watch. Now, if you had cut these out of cardstock or a double-sided paper, you wouldn't have to worry about this step. You could just pop them all in there. I'm just being a little precious about the whole thing. So now all we're going to do is take our foam tape off carefully so they don't all tip out of there, which I have had happen before. There are a couple that have flipped over there. Okay, and then put your backing on. Now, if it's directional, which this one really isn't, although I wouldn't want it going that way, you want to make sure that you've got that the right way up. So there's your shaker element all ready to go. I love those little pieces inside, and they have all stayed flipped over, so that was worth all my work. I am going to put the rest of my card together and I'll be back to show you. I know I'm going to use this fantastic geometric background confetti cuts, which I just love, and that's cut in the same ombre paper that I've used for my little pieces there. And I am also going to use the Hello Confetti Cuts, which is just the perfect hello word die. It's so great for cards to keep in your stash that you might want to send for anything really. You can write a birthday message or get well or whatever you want, and I've cut that out of gold foil. Other than that, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this card, so I'll be back once I'm finished. So here is my finished card, all stuck down. As you can see, I decided not to add too much to it. I've just added a little sentiment using the fancy word coordinates. The great thing about this is I could have just left that blank if I wanted to, and there's really a sentiment in this set for every single occasion. And with the hello word die being so multi-purpose really, it works for any occasion. You could really leave this card in your stash and stamp it at the last minute and send it for anything. But I've just left it quite simple so that I don't detract from the fun shaker element. I really like that. So again, the confetti cuts I used today were the geometric background, love. I mean, I love them all so much. The Shakers and Frames confetti cuts, which comes with the 3 different sizes, and you can do so many different things. I mean, you can cut them in so many different ways to make your shaker frames. And like you can see, it makes it so easy to make your little sandwich, to make your shaker element. If you've never made a shaker card before, get these. They just make it so easy. And the Hello Word confetti cuts. Love those products so much. If you make a shaker card, I would love to see it, especially if it's your first one. I hope this has sort of inspired you to give it a try. It's so fun, and it's so cool for the recipient. Really, anyone young or old, I find, really love these cards. It's so different. So thank you very much for watching. You can find all these stamps and confetti cuts at www.reverseconfetti.com, and you can visit me at www.thinkingstamps.com. Bye!